evening for everyone who turned up. I have been a reader and fan of Sybil, Auntie Sybil, Sybil Nanda, for a long, long time. So I'm fascinated, I'm humbled to be having this conversation with her. And I think for the next hour or so, all of us are going to be 6 years old. It's that magical age when she also, as we'll soon hear, left her village and moved to the city, but it's those years that she has tried to capture, she has tried to recreate in her imagination for decades, enriching generations of Sri Lankan children and adults like myself. She absolutely needs no introduction, but what's remarkable about Auntie Sybil is that she writes and she draws, which is uncommon, and then she also writes in both Sinhala and English, which is also not so common. And as a prelude to our conversation, I thought I'll just quote a few words from the opening of this book, her memoirs that she published first in 1995, The Child in Me, which won the Gratian Prize for the best Sri Lankan writing by a writer living in Sri Lanka that year. And it starts with a verse. My childhood I lived in a wonderland of birds that spoke and flowers that sang. The swirling wings around me danced, holding hands with me in a trance. Sometimes the moon dropped down the stars to keep me happy through the nights. Those enchanting dreams are still alive in some parts of my mind where lives the child. End of quote. So the child in you and the child in all of us, we've been resonating with each other through your stories. We want to first of all explore those early years, if I may. You were born in 1928 in Gintota.
No. My grandparents lived in Manadura, and my mother was taken to Manadura for my birth.
Right, but then you grew up the first few years in Gintota. Tell us a bit about that time.
That's a fascinating story as well, because my mother is supposed to have suffered for 21 days with labor pain when I was born, and in those days there was no cesarean operations, and my mother was the eldest in the family, and my grandfather was very upset that her daughter was suffering so much, and she had told everyone, the doctor, I don't want to see the sight of this child, take her away, take it away when it is born. And he had ordered her never to be taken to hospital. Everything was designed at home, to have the baby at home, and the doctor had been kind enough to bring the nursing staff and everybody. He lived in a big house, and now he swore to everyone, I don't want to see the sight of that child, because my mother was suffering so much. And then, when the child was finally born, it was just a pool of blood, and everybody thought it was dead body, and they attended on the mother, and a few minutes later the doctor had picked up the child with both legs and given a pat on the back, and the child had yelled, and the doctor said, oh my God, this child is alive. And then my grandfather said, Richard, I thought it is dead. And anyway, the doctor had said, if you don't want the child, I will take it away, but let it be there with the mother for 3 months till she is fed. And then it was decided that I was to be given away to the doctor. And my father had taken the time of my birth to a famous priest, and the priest had said, don't discard this child. This is a very lucky horoscope, this child is very, very lucky. Treat her not as a girl but as a boy because she's going to be world famous. That was true, according to Times. And my father was so upset. He had taken away to his village in Gintota, and finally I was not given away to anybody. That's also a fascinating story.
And at least in one respect, that astrologer, that priest was right. You did become world famous.
Yes, my father was very fond of me till the day of his death. Now he worked out of home. He was a building contractor. Whenever he went home, he used to take me by his side and he would tell me stories. And his storytelling was very fascinating. He would imitate the voices of animals, birds, yakas, and that was my first hearing of storytelling. And my father was very, very fond of me.
You have written that about your mother also, that she was also a storyteller, and as was your grandmother, from whom you learned a lot about village life. So tell us a bit more about the first 6 years, which you have called the happiest years in your life.
Yes, even now I think, now as grown-ups we have very bad times and very unhappy times. Sometimes as old people, elderly people, everybody is like that. Now, when I was very small, my grandmother was a very early riser. About 4 o'clock in the morning, she would put me up without even a drop of water given to me. You know, we lived by a forest, by the edge of a forest in Gintota, and she would take me out, and just as you enter the forest, there is a goraka tree, sweet seeni goraka. That is a kind of very fig, like a fig. So this is dropped all over the ground. She would split these, feed me with this seeni goraka, and she would eat the seeni goraka. And we saunter into the forest, and then we dip into the wire, and she lets me go around chasing birds and chasing rabbits. It's like a picture book story. I still remember when I read picture books, children, I used to think that is my real life. Hearing bird calls, running after rabbits and dipping in the river, it was very, very fascinating. So my early childhood was like a storybook, really. I still think of these when I am alone at home, and these are the beginnings of my writing, you know. It is really, to think of those times, they are not fiction, they are real life.
So that's where the inspiration still comes from.
Yes, and that is why now, at the end, I don't want anybody to tell anyone to know that I'll be 92 at the end of this month. But even at this age, I still think of my childhood, and then when I start writing something, I dream of those days, and it never leaves my mind. I think it is a real blessing never to forget all that wonder I had in my childhood. And my grandmother was a real magical person. She didn't know she didn't know to write or write anything to the illiterate person, but she was a very wonderful person with a great imagination. One day, my mother's family lived away in Valigama. I picked up some, when I was about 2-3 years old, some colored pieces of colored glass that is broken from colored vases and things. It was fascinating. I had never seen colored bits of glass. I collected all that, and secretly I took it home. And we had a housemaid. She said, "Visitan at kapagani." I said, "Visitan nene So I showed it to my grandmother. She said, "Wonderful." We climbed top of her quarter of the house, the series of steps, and she looked to the red one. She looked to a green one, and she enjoyed looking through this colored glass more than I did. So she was a child, really. She was a child at her age, and we shared everything together, eating fresh fruits and running after animals and listening to bird calls, all that. Me and my grandmother were two children.
Right, and you are not just a storyteller, but you are also a story illustrator. Where did that drawing come from? When did it begin? Did people around you encourage you, or what was the reaction when you started drawing?
Yes, that's very interesting because in those days, they never appreciated child art. They didn't even know that children could draw anything. When they sweep the garden in the morning, they sweep it very well. So what I think that talent was in me, but nobody was there to encourage it. So I used to take a piece of stick and draw everything on the sand. And then when somebody steps over it, I said, I am not into the Makanapa. I used to again draw it. And you know, the first time I ever did a picture was when I was about 4 years old. In those days, to prepare the house for New Year, they take everything out of the house, all the furniture, everything is taken out into the garden. Then they color wash the house, and then they wash the whole house, and then they bring these things back. My mother's favorite color was light green. The wall way was painted with light green, and she was frying cow in the kitchen. I was 4 years old and my brother was 2. So with the little baby, they put the pot under the mango tree, and this house was all empty. I looked at this beautiful space, and then I thought, how wonderful to draw a picture here. So that's the first time I ever thought of drawing a picture. I went to the kitchen, I took a piece of charcoal that my mother was baking the cow, and there was no one around. I drew from end to end a lovely picture just the way I felt like. And it was the very first painting picture I ever did in my life. I enjoyed it so much, and I kept looking at it. When my father walked in, he looked at it and he had a great laugh. He said, "Wonderful, Hari Rasana," and he carried me to the kitchen.
Did your mother appreciate it?
She was in the kitchen frying the cow. So my father carried me to the kitchen, and he said, "Enne endaku daruwa lassana deyak karala tiyenawane." Eppala mata mokadda. And with the telanda in her hand, she came and, "Ayyo deyane me pona vinasayata hendane avudda." She burst out crying. I was shaken. I knew that I had done something very, very wrong. Then my father said, "Don't tamper with it, don't do anything." And he called the neighbors and said, that was my very first art exhibition.
Right.
Everybody liked it.
Right. So then at age 6, you and the family, you moved to Colombo, close to Colombo.
At 8 years.
At 8 years, right. And then you start schooling at Holy Family Convent, where again the nuns were not too fond of kids drawing.
No.
But you used to, you kept drawing anyway.
No, this is also a very interesting experience. Now, just like my mother hated my scribbling, she wanted me to be an architect because she had a brother who was an architect and he died early. So in his name, and because I was good at art, she came mainly to Colombo to send me to university and make me an architect. And so when she went to college, she had inquired from people the best school for girls, and this school was recommended. And I remember she put me and my brother into a rickshaw, and she didn't know a word of English. She took me to school, and the principal was an Irish nun. She just said through the parliament that she came here to get the children to school. It didn't take even 1 hour to get us admitted to school. So then, when I was in school, I found that the principal was a German lady. She also didn't like this kind of drawing and stuff. And when I used to draw pictures, and the art master used to encourage me, she was not very happy. You know, my class teacher was a very talented lady. She wanted she wanted to know the standard of English that when I was about standard 4, to standard of English again. So I wrote a story about a piano, a conversation between a piano and a bird. It was very interesting. She said, this is very, very rare for a child of 12 years to write this. She encouraged me on this. She said, you have a vast imagination. And she told me that you can write very well. And on this encouragement, I used to write articles to the children's page in the Observer. And every Sunday it was published.
But is it true that you sent these items under fictitious names and not under your name? That was later.
I sent under Sybil de Silva. I was Sybil de Silva. Then Mother Annunciation called me to her office and said, my dear, don't you understand what I tell you? Don't ever waste your time on these things. Concentrate on your studies. She made me think that I should not be writing this. But I was eager to write. So I kept on writing. But I sent these names under fictitious names. And everybody thought it was wonderful. One day, there was a very interesting article I wrote to the children's page called My Lane on a Rainy Day. The class teacher even didn't know. I wrote this name under a name called Pamela Dice. It was not my name. And this teacher said, it's a lovely article because even that Sunday it was raining. And everybody was talking about it. I was itching to tell everyone it is me, but I could not.
And then your father, when you are still in school, once sent some of your drawings to an exhibition at the art gallery, where the then headmaster of the Royal Primary School, Mr. Chief Sub-Editor, spotted them and came in search of you and wanted you, still a schoolgirl, to illustrate the Navamaga reader that he was compiling. Tell us a bit about what happened.
Yeah. Now I was so fond of my village life, although I was in Colombo, because I used to draw pictures in black and white of all people I knew, the tea maker and everybody in the village that I was very fond of. My father was very interested. He took some of these and put them into an exhibition in the art gallery. And Mr. H.D. Sugatapala was the headmaster of Royal Primary, had seen this. He was at the time compiling this Navamaga Standard Drive reader. So he took these. He came, I remember in those were copies, in a push bicycle. He stopped near our house. He was living in Bengal at that time. He was a very soft-spoken person. He told my mother, is Sybil your daughter? So he said, yes, she's my daughter. And then he said, Milamaya came to rent the car. Harima Hundai, me yaak te kila putak karo ganna kalpana kare. Ane mahatya venagene swaganna yanne he doesn't do where Gamagana he doesn't bad. So Mr. Sudapala went away. But he didn't stop at that. His wife was a very beautiful, charming lady, Gertie. Both of them came one day, one afternoon, and they were very, very kind to my mother. Gertie spoke to my mother, and she didn't mention a word about this drawing picture. They got very friendly with my mother. 2 or 3 times they came visiting her. By that time, she had got very friendly with Gertie and Mrs. Wettasinghe. And finally, my mother said, "Ikinang eka potak karo ganna hone, ekaකට වඩා කරන්න දෙන්න බෑ." You see, so this I was allowed to do this very first book in our country to be done in color, and I still have the pictures in my house that fine arts people enlarged these and came and hung these pictures, and they said these are so, it cannot, I was 15 years old when I did this, that they can't believe that these pictures were done by a 15-year-old.
Is it true that one of the people who saw this Navamaga reader was Mr. Martin Vikramasinghe, who then persuaded your mother to allow you to keep illustrating?
Yeah, that is the Yes, now the thing is, it so happened that my mother was a voracious reader. She always read, and she wrote as a singer and a reader. Her favorite reader author was Martin Luther King. So when this book was published and a review was done by Martin Luther King, he's supposed to have mentioned that this child has a great imagination and a talent and it should be encouraged. So when my mother saw this, mysteriously, she used to peep over my shoulder and she said, it was canny because how things can happen magically. Then she was very interested in my drawing. And then Martin Luther King got me to illustrate the Ape Mother.
Ape Gama.
Yeah, Ape Gama. Then they were living in his present house in Navala. I took the pictures to him and I gave it to him and I said that he was very happy that I did this. Then he said,
Wow.
මට කිව්වා ඔය නවමග පොතේ ඉතුර ඔය ළමයාගේ නෙමෙයි. මම ඉතින් පුදුම වුණා. ඔය ළමයා සක්‍ර දෙවියන්ගේ නිර්මාණ. සක්‍ර දෙවියන් is the god of arts. ඉතින් ඒ සක්‍ර දෙවියන් තමයි ඔයාලා කියලා මම ඇන්දුවේ. I didn't understand what he was saying. මේව භවය ඈත භවයේ කියන පුරුද්දක්. මේ ළමයාගේ දේවල් නෙමෙයි මම ළමයන්ට ආශිර්වාද කරනවා මුළු ජීවිතේම මේ වගේ ලස්සන චිත්‍ර අඳින්න කියලා. I still think to this day that blessing was great.
We didn't know that part, but that's certainly been a blessing right through. So you then, instead of going on to university to become an architect, you rebelled and become a journalist. You want to go and work for a newspaper and you somehow succeed. You become the first woman to work in a full-time capacity in a Sinhala newspaper in this country. Lankadeepa, 1948. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes. Then Mr. and Mrs. Wettasinghe took me to see how our paper is published. That's a Lankadeepa when it was published in 1948. Just 6 months old and published by Mr. Don Dharmapala, best editor in Asia, I was told. And they showed me the process of printing a newspaper. Coming back, I begged of them to get me to work in a newspaper. Then he said, "Anela, amma piteka tarahage walana pattareka dammoth. Eka nan karanna bae." Manga ane Mr. Subakala mama pattarekatama daanna mata ඕන pattareka වැඩ කරන්න. I begged of them to get me into a newspaper. Then I told my mother. Then from that onwards, I was slacking in my work. I was in my uniform, and she was very worried. I was not every term I should come first in class, but I was not applying myself to schoolwork. Then she went to school, and through interpreter, she told the principal, "This child is not doing well in class. What is the problem?" Then the mother said, "There must be a problem in the family." So she said, she said, she wants to join a newspaper. So the principal said, let her do what she wants. That's the best thing to do. So with that encouragement, she took me to meet Mr. Dharmapala one morning. Then I was admitted to Lankadeepa, and from then on I worked in Lankadeepa, and that's a very fascinating thing. I must tell you this also.
Yeah.
I worked for about 6 months in the Lankadeepa, and at lunchtime I used to always go downstairs to the bookshop and like about browsing around the books. I used to find a very beautiful lady smoking a cigarette, standing by the lift to go upstairs. I asked my colleague who was working with me, another boy, who is that lady who smokes a cigarette and waits for the lift? And he said, She's one of the famous ladies in the country. She's called Sybil de Silva. She edits the paper upstairs in the 4th floor. You know what I did? I didn't ask anybody. I just waited with her, and when she got into the lift, I followed her. I went upstairs. I went right behind her. I went into her room, and then she turned around and, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Sybil de Silva." "And why are you here?" "I want to, I work in Lankadeepa. I only do a strip folk tale. I only do 1 strip a week. I'm bored. I want some more work to do. Can you give me some more work to do?" she was surprised.
So this is the Times of Ceylon, which was upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs.
Right.
Then she called the phone, and she called editor-in-chief, Victor Lewis, who is an Englishman, and said, "Victor, I have found somebody who wants to work with me." Then he's supposed to have said, "Bring her along." So I went to Victor Lewis's room, and then I told this tale. I think I was bold enough to tell all this. Then Victor phoned Mr. Dharmapala, and Mr. Dharmapala said, "Take her upstairs. I don't mind, but get her to do my work also." So I worked for both papers from the Times office.
So the bilingual journalist was born. You work for Lankadeepa, you work for Times of Ceylon, you illustrate, and then a few years later you move, along with several others, you moved to Lake House, which had started an afternoon paper or evening paper called Janatha. I know we have lots of memories to cover, limited time, but it's at Janatha that you flourished in terms of illustrating and storytelling. Tell us very briefly about that.
Now, Janatha, we had a very good editor, Mr. Don Dharmapala. He was not really a Sinhala spoken person, very English editor, but there were other people like me, Madam Tilaka, and also the person I married, Mr. Wettasinghe was a sub-editor. They were all very interested in my art more than my writing, and all were very interested. I worked for all the newspapers except the Tamil paper Kinakaran because I didn't understand Tamil. Everybody got me to write something in the papers, so daily news every Saturday I have to write an article, and it was a golden period for me because I was very, very popular. Aubrey Collett was the cartoonist. He used to walk along the corridor and peep into my desk. He used to come and tell me, "What you wrote last week was wonderful." So I was encouraged by everybody there, and my interest was only drawing and writing because all this encouragement came to me from the best people in the newspaper world.
And Sybil de Silva, who went to Lake House, then became Sybil Wettasinghe, having met Mr. Dharmapala Wettasinghe. Yes. And the Janatha years is when you were asked to write and not just illustrate. And then suddenly you have the opportunity to tell stories and draw them.
Yes, it was now, I wrote this, my first story was written, Umbrella Thief in Sinhala called Gunawardene in the Janatha, in the paper.
Around when was that?
That was in 1956,
Right.
56. And editor Paris, I used to read a little Sinhala. He came to my desk, I still remember the specs in his hand and the newspaper. That story is wonderful. I want you to write a story like that for every paper. So it was a kind of punishment, but it was a great encouragement also. I sort of wrecked my brain to think a story every day to write. So this was a great encouragement for me because coming from Mr. Paris, it was great. And the present managing director was running Wettasinghe's father, Mr.
Desmond
Wettasinghe. He never called to his office anybody and encouraged. One day the PN said, he said, they were very fond of me because I did pure good work. And then I thought how wonderful to be working with people who appreciate your work and encourage you so much. I never thought of my salary, which was only 18,000. But my encouragement to work was great.
Right. And then Gunawardene, and then many more stories resulted from that period, and you created some enduring characters. My favorite is Sutharapuncha, and his extended family. Sutharapuncha, was it inspired by an individual child, or were there inspirations for your characters?
No. My grandfather was a kind of person who loved humor. Whatever anybody did, he used to say, Hari Sutharapuncha. His password was Sutharapuncha. So being fond of my grandfather, I wanted to build a character on I like mischief a lot. Even now I write a lot of mischief and humor. I'm very fond of writing humor. So I thought of it, and then I sometimes think that children are punished for nothing. You have the child's point of view for anything. You have to understand children. You can't just punish children because you are an elderly person. You have to first understand children. So I took the stand of a child and built up these stories from the point of the child who is quite right in what he said. For instance, he used to say, the father used to say, you know what the child did? In the kitchen, they cut course, and then you find the lard. He collected all the lardo and made it into a ball, and he kept it like that. Then one day the father said, again, that is how a child avoids being unruly, that is the beginning of my series of Sutharapuncha. I used to encourage children to have their point of view all the time.
There have been hundreds of Sutharapuncha stories. First appeared in 1960, according to records, and then for much of the 60s and 70s, you kept on writing Sutharapuncha stories every week, while you were at Lake House and even afterwards.
Yeah.
And some collections have also come out. Other than Sutharapuncha, you've also been writing standalone books. Duvana Ravula, Vesak Pahana, Magul Gedara Batnato, dozens of titles. Altogether, how many books by now?
I was told, I didn't make a record of these things, I was told by a publisher that they made a survey and they found that I have written 6,000 children's books in English and Sinhala, and some translated into Kannada as well. This was discovered by a publisher from the archives.
Wow, that includes the foreign language editions.
No, not foreign editions. Foreign editions, I have done 9 books for Japan, and it's the first time that Umbrella Thief was published by an American publisher called Kane Miller, and they wrote and told me that it's the first time that they ever published a book from an Asian country.
Right, and Kudavara has gone on to conquer the world. It's been voted the most popular children's book in Japan more than once, and it still sells. There are imprints, reprints even now.
There is another book that is very popular in Japan about a fox. It's being published in Japan for 30 years, and last month they wrote us telling that they are publishing another 5,000 because that is a fox is a character who plays out people. In this context, I have turned it the other way. 3 farmer women play out this fox. So they like this story very much, and about 2012 I went to Japan to receive an award, and children brought a lot of books and they got me to sign, and they said it is the best book they have read. So it is great to know that I am not proud of what I am saying. I am not elated about what I am saying, I am just telling you the facts.
Do you still hear from your young readers?
I do, yeah, greatly.
How do they get in touch with you? Do they write? Do they call?
They call, they write, they visit also. And now they send their own stories and they tell me, please draw us pictures for these. So I do sometimes.
Do you sometimes?
Yeah, draw pictures for them.
Right. Okay, so we've got a lot more to cover, but we want to give you a chance and engage the audience. Let's take a few questions, and can we have a mic coming from our organizers? Let's take 2 or 3 questions at a time. Who would like to ask questions?